The weekend numbers are in, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse absolutely dominated at the box office. And Little Mermaid wasn't able to hold on to the top spot. It was able to maintain a drop between 50 and 60% in its second weekend. Now, that would normally be okay if the film had a massive domestic opening and then had a 50 to 60% drop, but unfortunately, its opening weekend, it didn't do too great. It opened to around 118 million, so suffering a drop anywhere in the range of 50 to 60% is not going to be good for The Little Mermaid. And really quick, if you're new here and you enjoy this kind of content and want to see more of it, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to get more videos just like this one. This film will be lucky to break even as it stands right now, especially with the international numbers dropping by the day, with competition coming in from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse doing absolutely phenomenal at the box office. Now, just for comparison purposes, how does this compare to the original Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Now, Into the Spider-Verse opened to just 35 million at the domestic box office. So the new film, Across the Spider-Verse, nearly quadrupled that. That is insane. Those are very, very big numbers. You know, this film is kind of a sleeper hit. When the first Into the Spider-Verse was released in the theaters, it was kind of one of those sleeper hits. It made like around 384 million at the worldwide box office. Nobody was really expecting too much out of it, but then it went on to win the Oscar for Best Animated Picture. So when they announced that they were working on Across the Spider-Verse, excitement was pretty high for this film. Having seen it, and without spoiling anything, I can assure you guys that what it made is a direct reflection of how good this movie actually was. My prediction is that it's going to hold on, and next weekend's numbers, it's only going to see, if I had to guess, anywhere from a 30 to 45% drop, which isn't going to be big because, as I always say, the second and third weekend are the biggest weekends for any film that's being released. And as we can see with The Little Mermaid flopping in its second weekend, and I am going to say it's flopping because, again, when you compare Disney's live action remakes to each other, the domestic opening for Aladdin was 91 million, but the film went on to make over $1 billion at the box office. That's because it had such positive word of mouth. People enjoyed the film. And a key takeaway when discussing Aladdin's success is to take a look at those international numbers. The international numbers made up 66.2% of the total worldwide number. Whereas with The Little Mermaid not doing too great domestic and definitely not doing good worldwide international, it's not looking good. Studios don't make films so that they break even. They make films so that they make stupid money. And in the case of Little Mermaid, it's not looking like it's going to be one of those films that's capable of doing that. And for it to get to the break-even point, well, that's even questionable. Let's take a look at some articles. Now, this is via MovieWeb with a 250 million production cost and a reported 140 million marketing cost. The Little Mermaid, under the most generous of projections, needs to gross approximately 560 million at the worldwide box office to reach its break-even threshold. They go on to say, with its weak international box office performance, The Little Mermaid has already fallen far behind the box office pace and performance of Disney's previous live-action remake films, not including the pandemic-addled 2020 live-action remake of Mulan. For example, the 2019 live-action remake of Aladdin grossed 356.5 million at the domestic and a whopping 695.1 at the international box office, for a worldwide box office gross of over 1 billion. Prior to Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, the 2017 live-action adaptation of Disney's 1991 animated film, grossed 504 million domestically and 759.5 million internationally, for a worldwide box office gross of over 1.2 billion. So guys, needless to say, Little Mermaid is in big trouble. Now, on the opposite side of that, Spider-Man is crushing it, as I said earlier, and this is via The Hollywood Reporter. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse swings to huge 120.5 box office opening. It goes on to say, the sequel opened to 120.5 million in North America, well ahead of expectations and the third biggest opening ever for an animated film, as well as a best ever for Sony Animation, not adjusted for inflation. It's also the second biggest opening of 2023 to date. The movie, which easily comes in at #1, boasts both stellar reviews and audience scores. If you guys haven't checked those Rotten Tomatoes scores out, here they are. And I predict that it's going to continue to dominate at the box office for the next couple of weeks, until of course The Flash is released and then Oppenheimer. But hey guys, that was just my real perspective. I'd love to hear yours. Did you guys check out either of these films? If you did, what were your thoughts? Drop a comment below, sound off, and let's talk about it. Remember guys, if you enjoyed this kind of content and want to see more of it, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.